Just excited.
I think a lot of people are excited.
I'm bored by it. I'm telling you. I'm bored by it. I'm bored by it. I'm going to tell you why.
Whoopi Goldberg is melting down over Joe Biden leaving the race, being forced out of the race, whatever happened. She's still upset about it. She's been upset about the possibilities of Joe Biden leaving the race.
Pass the torch to the next generation and to know you've left it all on the field, but that there's someone else who could maybe do this job better. So I commend him. I said it a year ago that the history books will remember him very kindly if he knows to pave the way for someone else to come up behind him. And listen, the reality was it was going to be a really big uphill battle for him if he stayed in the race. And I would look no further than the absolute meltdown that's happening on the Trump campaign right now. The messaging, since it's been pretty clear, Vice President Harris is now the Democratic nominee or soon to be. They don't know what to do with themselves. They planned a whole campaign against Joe Biden, not against a female former prosecutor, attorney general, senator, somebody who, well, she's the vice president. There are unknowns there. All their data, all their strategy was built around this man. It's a moment that I feel like people are energized. I'm just feeling something. I think a lot of folks, 6 and 10, didn't want that rematch. We lived through it in 2020. 2020 was a hellish year. Now it's like something totally different. And I'll be honest, I'm just excited.
I think a lot of people are excited.
I'm bored by it. I'm telling you. I'm bored by it. I'm bored by it. And I'm going to tell you why. You know, the messaging that we have put out to people over a certain age is horrific. We have basically said, hey, you know what? We kind of think if you're over a certain age, you don't really have what it takes to do the job that you're doing. That's the messaging that we've put out. So I'm bored by hearing that. I'm also bored by people saying, well, you know, it's the next generation. It's still an unknown. We can believe what we like to believe. And I love Kamala and have defended her from day one. I know she can do the job. I would have preferred my Democrats to do this not publicly and in everybody's face, because what it did was it had a sitting having to talk about this endlessly and not being able to say, because we couldn't have two-way conversations about this kind of thing, with just sort of being left. So I'm bored by the oh my God, is what's going to happen? Because I know that the American people, regardless of who the nominee is going to be, it's going to be up to the people.
The one thing
and for me, that's why when I said
couple quick things that I would say here to address what Whoopi Goldberg is saying. One, what profession other than politician do you have people working well into their 70s and 80s? Yeah, you have professions where somebody's an accountant and they still are working when they're 80, or I've known family doctors who were into their 80s still working. Most people in most professions are retiring, 65, 70 years old. They're ready to move into retirement. They don't want to keep working and working. That doesn't mean maybe they couldn't, but also people working in these professions, if somebody works in an office and they make a mistake, nobody's going to die. Whereas the President of the United States can literally, the President of the United States' actions can lead to people's deaths, many, many people's deaths. So you can have a president not in his or her right mind and start a war and cause people to die. I don't think the people, there's a big difference between working on a TV show and being president of the United States. I don't think anybody is saying, despite what Whoopi Goldberg says, I don't think most people are saying that if people get to a certain age, they're just worthless. But when you have a very, very difficult job like president of the United States and members of Congress that are making choices that are affecting people's lives, you need people who are younger, who can think clearly, and you also just have a point where people get out of touch with what's going on, particularly in politics where things rapidly change. So this idea to me with Whoopi Goldberg that she's butthurt that people are saying Joe Biden is too old. He's too old. Donald Trump, even though he's a little bit younger than Joe Biden and definitely appears younger, he's too old as well. And we don't need members of Congress well into their 70s and 80s. People like Whoopi Goldberg just have to face the facts that at a point, a person is no longer, such as Joe Biden, as sharp as they once were, and the torch needs to be passed to a younger generation. She doesn't like that. Who cares?
It was, yeah.
I would say on the age thing is, like, I worked in the White House under a very different president. It was chaotic, but every single White House, like, the presidency is so different than any other job. I don't think most Americans think that if you're 80, you can't do any number of things.
No,
the
but
presidency
we've made
is
that.
uniquely challenging.
But we've made
and
that
by the way,
a point.
Donald Trump, now it's on him. Now he's the oldest presidential.
Well, can I
candidate
have
in history.
distinguished between Joy Behar at 81 and President Biden. I've said before that it's not the number, it's how the number looks on the person.
And being a host of The View is different than being the president.
And again, it is safe.
100%. Everything that Alyssa Farah Griffin is saying here makes sense. These ladies on The View, they make some kind of mistake, nobody dies. Yeah, people are mad about it, but they're not going to start a war. Whoopi Goldberg just can't see it. She's been all in for Joe Biden. Now, here at some point, she's going to stop talking about this, and Whoopi Goldberg is going to shift all of her focus to Kamala Harris. But for now, she's butthurt that her buddy, probably Joe Biden, is out of there.
Saying to people of a certain age, because that's what the messaging has been. You're old, you're doddering,
Yeah.
It really pissed me off. Not because I'm as close, but because I felt it was disrespectful.
Yes.
Well,
I felt it was disrespectful. to people.
Now I want us to spend the next 3 weeks talking about how old and demented Donald Trump
Well,
is.
yes.
I expect the press to ask the same questions about his mental acuity.
I wish I believed that the press would change their colors. I don't think they will, and I think that's what's annoying me more than anything.
And Whoopi Goldberg, it may be disrespectful, but politics are difficult. Politics, it's a difficult, tough game. And Joe Biden knows that more than anybody. But it wouldn't, Whoopi Goldberg is talking about that people who are old are doddering and all of that. Not everybody is. Bernie Sanders is right around the same age as Joe Biden, and nobody thinks he seems doddering like an old fool. Even if you disagree with his politics, Bernie seems to be in really good shape. If Joe Biden were 81 and super sharp and didn't have any cognitive issues at all, then this would not be a discussion. He would be in the race right now, and we'd be talking about, preparing for the next debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. But that's not the case. Everyone sees it. Everybody's been able to see it for quite a while, well before the first debate, that Joe Biden has become frail and he's lost several steps from where he once was. We need a standard for the president of the United States of higher than that. And Whoopi Goldberg just doesn't seem to be able to accept that. That doesn't mean that everybody hates old people. And if you're old, your life is over. It just means that a person who's 81 and has lost a lot of their faculties is not fit to be the president of the United States. A lot of people have acted like this is sort of a coup. Polling came out yesterday showing 83% of Democrats are happy with Joe Biden stepping down. So this wasn't a coup. But like I say, Whoopi Goldberg will switch over here soon and she'll have forgotten about Joe Biden and she'll be on to Kamala Harris. But what do you think? Do you agree with Whoopi Goldberg? Do you agree with Alyssa Farah Griffin? Are they both wrong? Make sure to leave me a comment, a like, and subscribe. It helps me to grow the channel. I'll see you in the next video.